Hey guys, it's Housewife in Heels. So I was thinking about it and it had occurred to me that there isn't too much material about how a sewcate is going to wear over time because I talk about breaking them in a lot, but I've never really had a thorough discussion as to how your shoe will look like or what's going to happen to it as you break it in. But keep in mind that everyone's shoes are going to break in different. Everyone's foot is different. The leather will mold according to the the owner of the shoe's foot. So keep that in mind. Not everyone's shoes may look like mine. This is just me trying to give a little bit of education, so to speak. Now, I very recently got my latest pair of Socates, the pair in the nude color, which I'm so thankful for. They were the nicest present for Valentine's Day from someone. And I thought it would be interesting to show you guys a brand new one versus a very well worn one. So you can see the difference side by side. Now, the first thing I want to point out is that a brand spanking new Socate, it is going to be very smooth. It is going to look very narrow. It's sort of going to look tight, if that makes sense. Not just because it is such a tiny toe box. I mean, it's going to look stiff and it's going to feel stiff. It's never been something that's been messed with. It's never felt the warmth coming from skin. It's never had something really pressing against it. So if you want it to become comfortable, then eventually it will go from looking like this, no toe marks. The leather almost wants to curve inward. I believe that occurs because they make the shoes with a last, or it it's actually a mold of a foot or a mold of something that's shaped like a foot, and the leather will want to sort of curve over the last, if that makes sense. I really hope that's making sense to you guys, but I'm sure anyone who might work at Louboutin or whatever would know exactly what I'm talking about, or someone who's worked in footwear in general. Now, a very worn in Socate, it's going to look different. It's going to almost want to splay out because with your foot going inside of it, it's going to make the leather stretch outwards like that. So it is going to give more of a rectangular shape because this little U shape, this little maybe V shape that we have going on in the toe box, as the outer corners of the toe box sort of want to splay out, that little U will begin to want to pull up. So I'm trying to demonstrate without harming my shoe so that way you guys can get a feel of what I'm talking about. So yeah, that's really the biggest thing. And there is a minimal amount of the patent taking to my feet. I'm not sure how well that's going to want to pick up, seeing where the light wants to hit on it. But it does mold around to your toes over time. I just want to try and demonstrate for educational purposes so that way you know what you're getting into, you know what your shoe might wind up looking like. It's not going to be perfect and pristine and spick and span quite like this one all the time. Now you can see that this one definitely has more of a U shape going on. Let's see if I can get both shoes so you can sort of see side by side what I'm talking about. See, this one has more of a U, and this one, it looks more so like a line. This one's got more curvature happening, and this one's definitely is straighter. And this one looks wider, and that's because it is. This one has widened with me wearing it over time. This is much more narrow. This one I'm going to need to wear because I have not worn it, at least not out. And it will over time begin to take the shape like this one has. So hopefully you guys can get a better idea as to how these will look if you treat them right and you wear them. And don't fret if you are wearing them and you see the leather start to give. Don't think that you're mistreating your shoes because you're wearing them. You want the leather to crease. That's just what it's going to do over time if you want to be able to wear these more comfortably without having to worry about the pins and needles, things of that nature. Now, that's really the big thing between the two. I mean, it will want to splay out over time up in the heel. You can kind of see me squidging it, squishing it, whatever you want to call it. These do feel stiffer, but the leather up by the heel is soft. So now that I'm thinking about it, might as well show that. You can see this one is wanting to curve more inward still, and this one is wanting to splay out. Now let's go ahead and go and look at these. You can see these wanting to kind of curve inward and then out, and these just kind of want to curve inward. So hopefully the light from the patent will pick up what I'm talking about. If you cannot see it, hopefully that will make it be a little bit more noticeable. You'll also see that this right here is starting to want to kind of splay out also. So that will happen to you. And if you are someone with a wider foot, then honestly, I would expect further widening to happen. So don't be alarmed. Don't think that your shoes are going to be completely torn apart forever. So long as you're wearing them, you're trying to take care of them, you're not leaving them out for your, I don't know, your cat to play with or something. So definitely get use out of your shoes. If your shoes are starting to mold, crease, they're starting to wear, they're starting to get softer on you, that's a good thing. That means you're getting your use out of them. You're getting your money's worth. And that's what you want when you're spending $800 on a pair of shoes. So I hope that this helps. I will go ahead and throw these on my feet so that way you can see how one looks on the foot that's worn versus a brand new one. So you can kind of get a look at that just to give you guys a little bit further of a demonstration. And I hope you guys learned something, or you are just here to watch me talk about and try on shoes. But other than that, I will go ahead and try these on for you. And I wanted to say thank you to everyone who is subscribed to my Patreon. I appreciate each and every one of you. You guys really do help support the channel, so that way I can show you guys more shoes. So go ahead and check that out if you haven't. Now, let's go ahead and try these on for you, shall we? Bye. Let's throw these on, shall we? So the first thing I want to point out is that if you have a brand new Sokate, you are going to have to work your foot into it. You are going to have to sit and take time to put them on. Whereas the broken in one, I can just slide into it. If you can slide into a brand new Sokate, you have an ill-fitted Sokate, go a half size down. Now here you can see that you get a little bit more foot skin showing in the broken in one because it gives sort of like a peekaboo from the arch with it being a little bit splayed out. Now with the newer one, you're not going to see quite as much arch because it's not splayed out. Here you get a look at that toe box, how it has formed around the shape of my foot. It doesn't have that perfect pointed shape anymore. Whereas the new one, it still retains that perfect brand new shape. Now, that's not going to last forever. It will give over time, but it's not going to be so crazy noticeable. From behind, there are no real noticeable differences. They're practically identical in that sense. So it's not going to look misshapen or abnormal. So fret not over that. Now, something that I do want to point out is that I can pop my foot out of a properly fitted new so-gate. But don't confuse that with having heel slippage and thinking that's okay. That is another sizing issue. I have a whole video for sizing if you need more of a reference for that. Now you're just getting another look at how the leather has kind of splayed out on the older one, how it has sort of shaped into bend around my foot, whereas the newer one, it still retains a spherical shape, not necessarily looking jaggedy or whatever the way a foot would look. But other than that, so long as you take care of it, it'll be fine. It's not always going to look perfect, and it's not meant to. So thank you guys for watching.